Hey, Michael here from GuitarGate.com, and I wanted to jump on today and talk about quarter note triplets. So I'm in my driveway the other day, and my neighbor Gabe, who's a musician, comes over. He's got this piece of sheet music, and it's got quarter note triplets on it. And he's having a hard time trying to figure out how to count it, how to feel it, and what the deal is. And so we're talking. And it occurs to me that while everybody knows, or everybody is pretty comfortable with eighth note triplets, where it's just 3 beats that are equidistant over 1 beat, so 3 over 1, once you start getting into quarter note triplets, half note triplets, whole note triplets, whatever it is, it starts to get really confusing because it becomes kind of what's like a polyrhythm, right? The idea here is that you're talking about symmetrical notes, like symmetrical note values felt in 3 or multiples of 3. So we're like anything that's in 4/4 or 2/4 or anything like that, it's felt in multiples of 2. And so it's very easy to go from whole notes to half notes to quarter notes to eighth notes to 16th notes. But when you talk about triplets, it's very unclear, right? Well, here's the thing. It's the exact same concept of going whole, half, quarter, eighth, 32nd, but instead of always dividing by 2, right, you're subdividing it by 3. These are equidistant sets of 3 notes. So, eighth note triplets is where you have 3 equidistant beats for every 1 beat, right? 3 over 1. If you have quarter note triplets, it is 3 equidistant beats over the space of 2. If you have half note triplets, it is 3 equidistant beats over the space of 4. So the easiest way to count these is to start with something you already know. You already know eighth note triplets, where it's just 3 equidistant beats over 1 beat. So triplet, 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 triplet. And then what you do is you play every other one. Because we're going from eighth notes to quarter notes, we're going to be playing half as many because we're increasing in our note value. The same thing when you went from straight eighth notes to straight quarter notes, you got half of the note values, right? Same deal. So if we're going from triplets, eighth note triplets to quarter note triplets, what we're doing is we're going to 3 beats over 2 beats. So if this is 3 over 1, right, triple, 3 over 2, that's your basic feel. It's easy to feel up to speed. And if you're wondering why I'm doing it with a distorted guitar, it's because this is so prominent in metal music, especially big groove bands like Pantera. Now, I'm a huge Pantera fan. The interaction between Dime and Vinny was so rhythmic based. You know, Dime gets so much credit, as he should, for being a tremendous lead player as far as his note choices and his bends and his slurs and, you know, all his crazy stuff that he does, the big squeals. But his real strength, and he'll tell you this, right? Well, he could if he would. I wish he was here today. But he did interviews where he did say that his real strength was being a rhythm guitar player, locking in with his brother. And what he's talking about is that they all the time would go back and forth between straight felt stuff, quarter note triplet based stuff, eighth note triplet based stuff, but they would play off each other. Where this whole concept of playing 3 over 1 or 3 over 2 one of them would play the 3 and one of them would play the 2. And that's how they get that Pantera power groove, because it is such heavily rhythmically oriented. And it's all these symmetrical rhythms. The same way that, and I'm trying to go on a tangent here, the same way that Dime would play these great symmetrical scale shapes, right? That really weren't in any specific key. They were symmetrical. The dude's brain must have worked that way, because that's how it worked rhythm-wise too. And the two together with with brother on drums really made something phenomenal. Classic example of this is Revolution Is My Name. So that song off of Reinventing the Steel, that opening riff starts with eighth note triplets, and then it goes right into quarter note triplets. And you'll hear the drums change and accentuate each one. And when you think of it, and you hear it the first time, you're like, oh, I mean, that's just so intuitive. You're not thinking, oh, that's eighth note triplets to quarter note triplets. But I was trying to find an example of this, and it's just, Pantera does this stuff all the time. Now, this riff is in C sharp, so I'm kind of like butchering it a little bit, but if you know the tune, it's something like this. I mean, how cool is that, right? It's just... And that is the basis of it. It's just everything is felt in triplets, and you'll hear Vinnie Paul, on that ride cymbal, that hammering out those eighth note triplets, and then when it goes to the quarter note ones, it's just... And that's why Pantera was awesome. Another great example of quarter note triplets is Hot for Teacher in Van Halen. And talk about another band where it's two brothers, and so much of the band is based off in the interchange of those symmetrical rhythms, just going back and forth between straight eighths, some type of straight feel, to a triplet feel, to doing, quarter note triplets, to a half time kind of feel. It is so rhythm based. And again, just like Dime, Eddie's note choices, he was known for his symmetrical scales and putting that stuff together. Now, this is a whole nother series we could make about this whole concept. But I just find it truly fascinating that literally I was just talking to my neighbor Gabe, and I came down into my studio, and I'm like, Pantera and Van Halen do this all the time. The example that first came to mind is the solo in Hot for Teacher. So the cool thing about this, again, just like we talked about Pantera, you have Alex Van Halen on the drums, and he is doing, a triplet feel shuffle-based thing on the double kick. Now, sure, it's not an exact triplet, but when they go into the part of the solo where Eddie is climbing the neck in the scale, and you're getting all the hits together, right? So Alex is getting all the hits. It's that ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da. He is holding an eighth note triplet kind of count on his feet, right, with the double bass. And on top, the big hits, those are quarter note triplets on top. It couldn't be more clear. So that part is right when he walks up, and he does that. I'm going to have to do a Learn the Solo about that solo and the Learn the Song, because there's so much to talk about there. But if you go back and listen to that, you will hear that the double bass is going underneath. And so that is your basic triplet feel. It's that, right? And then over top is that. And those are quarter note triplets. I hope you find this lesson helpful. And if you do, please subscribe, share, tell your friends. It really does help me out a lot. And if you haven't done so yet, check out all the goodies we have over at GuitarGate.com. And if you ever need anything, don't hesitate. Shoot me a message, support@guitargate.com. I'll see you in the next one.